Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Questions. And I am here with the head of creative for Goddess of War Wrestling and the president of Damage 365 Promotions and my boss, the one, the only, Kevin Nasta. What's up?
What's up, Kimmy? Welcome back from your cruise. You were gone for like 6 months, and you still didn't come back with a tan.
I did. I'm just like covering it because I wanted to be professional for you. I wore a blazer. I changed. I was wearing a t-shirt. I was like, let me be professional. Here I am.
Nice.
And I was only gone for 9 days. You just contacted me at the worst times when I didn't have service.
It happens when you're on a cruise. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. The middle of the ocean with rough waters, and then you get to New York late. Who? So we're going to talk because you made a hell of an announcement that you are now the head of creative and the booker for Goddess. So what made you first want to get involved with Titan Goddess? Because I know you've done a lot of work with them previously.
Yes. So back in 2019, Titan Championship Wrestling decided to start a company called Goddesses of War, and they came to me for booking. So they know that I've worked with tons of female talent up and down the East Coast, Midwest, down South, and they, wanted to put some of this talent on their show. So, and I also kind of have a niche for being able to book talent before other people get their eyes on them and they become like TV stars and stuff like that. It is what it is. I mean, Thunder Rosa, but so they were
My
like, all
buddy.
right, yeah. So they were like, can you help us book? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we started booking and stuff, and then 2020 happened, COVID happened, put a little squash on plans. And then when things semi opened up where they were allowed to run shows outdoors, I booked their first 3 shows. And it was pretty cool. If anybody's been to a drive-in theater or a movie on the beach or stuff like that, my town does that, where they have this big inflatable screen and they put it on the grass and the water is in the background, and you could just sit in your car or sit on the grass and you watch a movie by the water. So this was kind of the same theory. It was 2 rows of seats around the ring spread out, and then there was another row of people sitting on towels, and then there was a whole ring around it of people sitting in their cars. So it was pretty cool. It was definitely surreal. Never seen that before, but it worked for the time. It worked. After the 4th show, they kind of didn't really book Goddesses shows by themselves. They would book 2 or 3 matches during a Titan show featuring women's wrestling, but they really never gave the Goddesses the push that it needed. So when I went to them a couple months ago, I said, what's your plan with Goddesses? And they said, well, we really want to bring the shows back, but like, we're not giving it the time it deserves because we don't really have it. Billy moved to North Carolina, so he's been trying to help Charlie from down there. He's also an over-the-road truck driver, so he's here or there. Charlie is basically doing this by himself. So I said, how would you guys feel if I just took over the booking of the Goddess shows, and I'll book you your shows? And they didn't even hesitate, and they said absolutely. And I was like, all right, well, I said, we can't just bring it back by just bringing it back. We need to bring it back by relaunching it. We need to rebrand, we need to remarket, we need to have a new strategy, new logos, new belt, like new everything, so people understand that we're 100% in on this, that all the women that we're trying to feature on these shows are going to be put in the forefront. It's just not going to be a gimmicky show like some of these Northeast companies that jump on, like, oh, it's Pride Day, so let's have a Pride show, or oh, it's Women Appreciation Day, so let's run a women's show that day, or no, this is going to be multiple times a year shows that storylines are going to continue. They're going to carry over from not only Goddesses but into the Titan shows, from the Titan shows into the Goddess shows, and then hopefully they bring those storylines to other companies that they work for because, let's face it, they've wrestled each other multiple times for multiple companies. So if we can utilize that, that works for everybody. It's a win for each company. It's a win for the talent. And it's a win for women's wrestling, and it's a win for the fans because they get to follow it on social media. You know, so yeah, we have all this rebranding strategy going in, and it's a lot of time and effort that's been put into it so far. And we're going to be the first Northeast women's company that's going to be all women from top to bottom, from in-ring talent to out-of-ring talent to backstage to everything. I'm not going to be on camera. You're never going to see me. Maybe sitting at a table watching, but my words and my stories are going to be out there with someone else doing it. Someone else is going to be acting out those stories. If the announcements need to be made, someone else is going to be doing it. Yesterday, we announced a podcast team that's going to be covering the brand. We announced a female broadcaster that's going to be calling the matches. We'll get her a female commentator. We'll have a female ring announcers, female referees, from top to bottom. So we're very excited where this is going. February, we're relaunching the company with the D365 Cup, which is going to be featuring 16 women competing to be crowned the number one contender for the Goddesses of War Championship. Also on that card, the female champion will defend the title against somebody. We haven't decided that yet. And they will be presented with the brand new Goddesses of War Championship title belt. And, I'm looking forward to it. So there's going to be 18 women on that card. There's going to be, multiple matches. And there's going to be a 2-hour pre-show fan fest where the fans get to come in and they get to meet all the talent for a couple hours. Then they'll go back outside and we'll have food trucks out there where they get to eat, hang out, eat in their car, stay warm because it will be February. And then they will be coming back in about an hour later to get ready for the Goddess of War show, which we're going to put on a super theatrical event like you've never seen before when it comes to female wrestling. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to blow away that WWE Evolution bullshit that they ran in Long Island, that glorified house show. We're going to make that look like an indie show.
That's some high standards, meaning I was at that show. I was at Evolution. That's some standards. So obviously you talk about how this is going to be all women from top to bottom. And we see Mission Pro ran by Thunder Rosa. And we also have Women Wrestling Army, which is ran by Maria. What's going to make Goddess stand out from those two notable all women companies?
Well, first of all, we're in the Northeast. So we're going to be the only one in the Northeast doing this. We are also going to be working with Mission Pro. We're also going to be working with Dog Pound, which is run by Jazz and Rodney Mack in Texas. We're also in the process of working with WOW, Women of Wrestling in California, run by Lakers owner Jeannie Buss, to do talent exchange, where we're going to feature their talent up here in the Northeast, and they're going to feature our talents on the West Coast or in Texas. So the whole theory that companies can't get along is going to get thrown right out the window because that's a bunch of nonsense. Anybody who knows me knows that if a vendor comes to me with a business proposal that is a win-win for everybody, I'm going to do it. It's not, I'm not beyond helping other people, so what's the difference? We're here to put the women in the forefront. We're here to promote women's wrestling, and we're here to promote their careers. And hopefully now with, this abundance of TV shows that are available from WWE, now run by Triple H, to AEW, to ROH under Tony Khan, NWA, Impact, so on and so forth. With all that available, this is a great thing for women's wrestling because now we want to promote them. We want to push them to the forefront. We want to give them as much exposure as possible. So now those phone calls start happening. Hey, can you come do a convention with me? Hey, I got a fan fest. Can you come do this with me? Hey, I have a booking that on this wrestling show. More exposure, the better. And look, these women they're not doing this, putting their body in harm's way on a weekly basis, for shits and giggles. They're doing it because this is what they want to do with their careers.
You brought up a lot of good points. You're literally taking all the notes I have on my notebook and you're saying them, which means we're on the same page.
Oh, great. Turn the
Wow.
page. Turn the page. Get to something else.
When you are hiring and looking for talent, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for women who not only can wrestle, but treat themselves as a brand. They promote themselves when they're booked for a show. It's not just like, all right, see you in a couple of weeks, and then you never hear from them until they show up. I want women who, like I said, treat themselves as a brand. They're going to promote the hell out of themselves and the shows that they're on. They're going to cut promos. They're going to make storylines, legit storylines, not just throwing together matches, for a show. We don't want that. You could go anywhere and get a thrown together show of matches that literally make no sense other than, they needed 10 people to wrestle. We don't want that. We want storylines. We want people to basically dedicate themselves into believing what's going on, and that the next show that they attend, that it's going to be like, watching an episode of NCIS where last week you watched it and now this week you watch it and you're like, oh well, yeah, that makes sense because of what happened last week. That's what we want. We don't want one overs. We don't want one and dones. We want real storytelling, theatrical drama, and it's wrestling. So there's always drama. So why not use it?
That's a good point. And like you said, you've been able to have an eye for top independent talent such as Thunder Rosa, Deonna Purrazzo, and Jordan Grace, who you booked
Who I'm
before they
wearing
were.
a shirt, or I'm wearing her first ever shirt.
Yes.
It says, wake up, work out, wrestle, wah, repeat, #Jordan Grace.
It's like you knew that this question was coming. So who right now is on the top of your radar on the independent scene for females?
I love Lady Frost. Love her to death. We booked her a bunch of times before she signed with Impact. I think she's an incredible talent. She's got an amazing look. She's very dedicated. I love Riley Shepard. Unfortunately, she hurt her MCL again, is going to be out of commission for a little while. But I love Riley's look. I love everything about Riley, from her personal life to her wrestling life. She's a very dedicated, hard worker. I love the veteran Lou Fisto out of Canada. Love her to death. Of course, Hala Dead, one of my favorites. She can work with anybody. I swear to God, she could crack a coconut with her thighs. She's just that strong. I mean, there's a ton more on the independent. I don't want to name people that are working for main companies, like Impact, even if they don't get a lot of recognition. There's a bunch. I love Christina Marie, based out of Albany. She's a great talent. She's very flexible of what kind of programs that she can work. And then I call them the Pittsburgh crew. Danny Moe, who was just featured on AEW Dark, Ray Lynn, Zoe Sky, all of them great talents out of the Pittsburgh area.
Now, you, of course, have this huge resume of experience. So what are you looking to get out of this whole experience with Goddess?
I'm looking to get nothing out of it for myself. This is for them. This is for the women in professional wrestling. This is for them. Yeah, everybody's in business to make money. That's our final goal, which is, yes, that's of course we would want to do. Nobody wants to lose money. But the bottom line is we want to help progress careers. We want to develop the next star, bringing in somebody like the first ever Goddesses champion was the Notorious Mimi, who is now currently with NXT. So that's something that the Goddesses can always hang their hat on. Like, they were the first ones to give Mimi a chance. They let her do her things, as spread her wings. They let her do that. And she was the first ever Goddesses champion. So, we're looking for stuff like that, young up and coming talent to work with some of the established veteran names. We'll sprinkle in some TV talent here and there, which I told the fans at the last show that I'm guaranteeing them there will be a TV talent in the tournament, and that whoever the Goddesses champion is that night will be defending it against a TV talent type person.
And I think that's how you get the most experience is working with those TV talents because they have the
Mhm.
experience of working in front of a crowd, which is always
Yes, and they
important.
also know that, when they work with us at signings and fan fest and store signings and things like that, they know who we are. They know that we treat them with respect, that we treat them better than family. And it was always an ongoing joke that, I treat my talent better than family because I don't really like my family. So I treat them better. I show them a good time when they're here. We go out to eat, we exchange stories, we have fun, we get in the car, we have fun car stories, especially if it's a couple hour drive around. Some days we're in the car 3-4 hours driving all over the place. It's always good times, and I've never had a talent or heard from the grapevine that a talent was not happy with their experience with us. And word of mouth from one talent telling another has gotten us even more business. And so when I do call them and say, hey, this is what I got in mind, I'd want you to be involved, would you be up for it? And 99% of the time I'm going to get a yes.
And that's credit to you for being so
Well,
high
it's not
up and
just
like
credit to
being
me, it's credit to my work ethic, but it's a credit to my team too, because like the saying says, the general is only as good as his army. So when I surround myself with good people that work hard and understand that, they're not only helping me build a brand, but they're also helping themselves build their reputation within the industry. So, if they're looked at as, oh my God, there was so much help, they were a pleasure to work with. Oh, they're so funny. I love being around them. That's them. Yeah, they work for me, but it's not like, oh my God, I love Kevin's employees. No, they're gonna be like, hey, I love Amy, I love Nick, I love Skylar, I love Kimmy, stuff like that. So, it's not only about me. Yeah, it's my name, my brand, but you know, I put my faith and trust in everybody who works for me. I give them, I let them think outside the box. It ain't be like, hey, here's a piece of paper. This are the 4 instructions you have. Do not deviate from these 4. If you have a question, ask. You know, that's the only thing I say. I'm like, hey, do what you do. Make sure you do it right. Keep your money neat, and stuff like that. If you have any questions, you ask. No question is stupid. Only stupid things are stupid answers, and that's it. And I trust the people that work around me, and they make me look better.
And just a note, Kevin's the reason why my money while working with Kevin Nash was so neat and he was so proud of me. So
That's because
thanks.
that's because my voice was screaming in your head.
It really was because then my dad was trying to do it and he yelled at my dad for messing up our neat
Yeah.
envelope. So
You'd be
thank
like, does
you.
that $5 bill go there? Nope, nope, nope. Put that. It goes over here. Oh wait, there's nobody even here. I'm talking to myself.
Exactly. So speaking of course, Damage 365, we're going to talk about the cup. So what was really your thought process with coming up with the cup? And of course, what will the winner receive? I know you announced on Facebook, but for the podcast fans, you should say it here too.
Okay, so the cup was actually Billy and Charlie's idea. So they wanted my basically my signature on this show because it's a relaunch and they know how much time and effort that we're putting into this. Like I literally have, a book here that I use. I'm old school and it's just, yeah, this is just all talent, ideas, you name it regarding the show. And I keep adding to it every night, and I keep bothering them every night. Well, while Charlie's driving it, Charlie's sleeping, and Billy's driving his truck. Charlie calls us vampires, but just exchanging ideas, throwing it out there, crossing it off if it's not going to work or we can't do it in the venue that we're using. So that was kind of like their way of, I guess, saying thank you for everything. Was just like, we're gonna do the D365 Cup, and I was like, all right, cool. We were gonna attempt to do it last year, but someone else was doing something similar, and I didn't want them to think we were stealing their idea or stealing their thunder, and get all dramatic in New Jersey indie wrestling. So we were like, all right, we'll do it with the relaunch, and like I said, there's gonna be 16 women competing. It's going to be 4 fatal 4-way matches. You're familiar with that format. And we're going to get down to 2 individual one-on-ones after that. and then a one-on-one, and then the winner of that match gets crowned the number one contender for the title, and they get to state their stipulations. So they get to name when they want a title shot and the rule stipulations. They will also receive a awesome. It's already in design. The picture is in the banner. They will receive an awesome Greek chalice, and so they can do whatever they want. They can drink grapes eat grapes out of it. They can drink wine. I mean, they can do whatever they want with it. They can put it on the shelf. They can bring it to medieval times and huzzah, and they can do whatever they want.
If they bring it to medieval times, I think it would get ruined, to be honest.
Nah, you just fill it with wine and just yell, a lot. You ever been to medieval times?
I've only been once for a 7th grade trip.
Yeah, you got to go as an adult. It's much more fun because you get
You're
to be
drunk.
Well, yeah, and you get to be a jackass, and it's acceptable.
True. So I'll end with this. I hear you have 2 really big announcements to make. The floor is yours.
I do. So one of them, I had the graphic all queued up, and it went broken. So I'm trying to pull that up now. But the one thing that I have to say that we're with the females bringing in podcasters and broadcasters and commentators and stuff like that, and we did announce that we were bringing in a podcast team, but it's not just limited to that. We want as much exposure for this company as humanly possible. And one of the things that I felt like we can do to make that happen was to bring you in to cover Goddesses of War as a secondary podcast coverage. And we know that you work closely with Rob Williams of the Bob Culture podcast. And he covers the Titan shows. I will be filling in for him September 17th at Causing Damage because a wedding was much more important than a wrestling show. So I'm going to be on color commentary. So I would definitely tune in if I was you, a fan, because I'm going to be dropping facts like you wouldn't believe. Whoop, there we go. And that was our other announcement. The first entrant into the D365 Cup on February 25th is someone we're familiar with, someone that I brought to Big Event, that I said that I had high hopes for, and I knew was going to be a superstar in this industry. And shit, I guess I was right again, because she was featured on AEW Dark, and that would be New York's own JC Storm. So when we do release this to the public, I will wait until you launch this show, and then I'll make reference to this show during that announcement, since this is where the actual announcement happened. So yeah, but welcome to the Goddesses of War family.
Thank
you. I hope you get everything you need out of it as far as professionally and education wise, And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be Kimmy. It's gonna be good times. It's gonna be a good show. The relaunching show, from if I'm able to take what's in my brain and put it out there in this venue, it's gonna be something that people are gonna remember for a long time. The theatrics alone is just gonna be amazing, and people got to remember, this is the Goddesses of War, and if you haven't noticed, it has a very large mythological theme to it. And if people do not know me, one of my college degrees is in Greek mythological studies. So this is very big for me. So like our names of our shows will have some kind of mythological reference to it. It's obviously our cup will have a I think it's got Medusa on it, and it's got green gems. It's kind of pretty. Our title belt is amazing. It's going to feature two goddesses on the side plates facing the main plate. It's going to be a beautiful title belt, probably not seen anywhere in independent wrestling that I'm aware of. And I will go on the line and say it's going to be the best looking title belt in the Northeast, period, hands down. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Well, I, for one, am very grateful and excited. So thank you for the opportunity. And wow. And before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, just follow Goddesses of War on all our social media platforms. I had to make all brand new ones because some of them were created by people that no longer work for the company, so we didn't have control of them. So look for us on Instagram, which we're still trying to build that. That it would be at tcw.goddesses, which is also our handle on Facebook, facebook.com/tcw.goddesses, and on Twitter at tcw_goddesses, because you can't use dots on Twitter. So yeah. So, and of course you can follow me at d365promotions.com, also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that fun crap. So anything that has to do with goddesses will be on my personal website, as well as the goddesses and Titans website. It's a titan-championshipwrestling.com is their site, and they're on social media as well. So yeah, it's gonna be Kimmy, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a whole new era of women's professional wrestling. I am determined to shake the stigma of the mid 1990s mentality of booking women's wrestling. That does not exist in my brain, and that will not happen at these shows. I will not allow that to happen. You know, yeah, I'm going to be writing shows, but the talent is going to have tons of say of what they want to do, how they want it to look. But at the end of the day, as long as it looks like what I'm trying to write, it's a win-win for everyone.
And that is all that matters. Once again, thank you, Kevin, for stopping by and giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Kimmy.